Good evening.
Fine,
I was great. How is the weekend going? Good evening. Good evening. How are you doing? Good evening, everyone. Good evening, blessing. Good evening, Ekene. How is your weekend going, Ekene?
Rough.
Wow, that's good to know.
good evening. Weekend is
That's
fine.
great. Good evening, Chidima. How are you doing?
Yeah, good evening, Favor. I'm fine, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm good as well. Thank you very much. All right, so I'd like to welcome everyone to this product session. I'm Favor, and I'll be the one facilitating the session. So we can just hold on for about 8 more minutes for other people to join in before we fully commence. So I think you can just keep interacting. Well then, Indira, good evening. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. I'm good. Good evening.
How is your weekend going? Hope it's going well.
Yes, going fine. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Uchenna, how are you doing? And how is your weekend going?
Yeah, good evening. I'm okay. My weekend is going well. Thank you.
That's good to know. Yeah, so I'm sure we are all set and we are prepared to learn a lot from this product session. And I am prepared. I don't know about you, but I'm prepared to gain a lot from our speaker, from what our speaker has prepared for us. So sorry about the delay. I want more people to join us before we fully commence. Good evening once again, everyone. I want to welcome us to this evening's product session. Mm. Our speaker for today is Mrs. Paula Adaja. Paula, good evening. You're welcome.
Good evening, Favor. Good evening, everyone.
Good
Good to be
evening.
here.
Thank you very much for joining us today on this session. So, okay, so as we all know, today's the topic for today's product session is cracking the code, your first job blueprint. Yes, we'll be talking about how to get jobs as product managers. So I'll be reading the speaker's bio right now so that we'll all get familiar with her. Mrs. Paula Adaja is a value-driven product manager dedicated to developing profitable, technically efficient products that meet customer needs. A graduate of the University of Ibadan, Paula brings over 2 years of experience across various industries, including transportation, healthcare, education, and legal sectors. Currently, she is with Metro Africa Express, where she spearheads initiatives to enhance the champion experience. Married and passionate about innovation, Paula believes that product managers are pivotal in creating disruptive products that revolutionize the future. Thank you very much. Paula, once again, you are welcome. Please let's send in our favorite emojis just so. Paula, once again, you are welcome and you have the floor. You can share it, you can go ahead to start.
All right. Good evening. Good evening once
Good
again.
evening.
Please hope I'm audible. Please
Yes,
confirm
you
you can
are.
hear
But
me.
we can make it clearer.
Just confirm you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you, Paula.
All right. I feel really happy to be here today. I think this is like my second time. Yeah, I'm really happy to be here. As Favor as introduced, right? So our topic is cracking the code. So now this is not just for PM jobs alone. So this blueprint is really going to help us get any kind of job, right? So I want us to open our minds. I want us to be open to learning and relearning. And there are some things that that will be talked about today. Some we are doing, some we are not already doing. We just need to open our minds so we can all learn together and start doing things like they should be done, right? Okay, so I'll be sharing my screen now. All right. So now for this blueprint, we'll be looking at 4 major guides, right? 4 things. I've broken this down to be as simple as ABC. Okay. So as I said before, this guide will not just help us get PM jobs. In a case where you've gotten a job already and you need to get a higher role, right? You need to get a job in a higher role. Once you are able to repeat these processes well, you should be able to land any kind of job. So if you're not with your notepad, grab one right now, or if it's your phone, just make sure you're jotting something down, because at the end of the session, the practical way is for us to go through all these processes step by step to be sure that that can then guarantee us to getting whatever kind of job we are seeking, right? So the blueprint is broken down into 4 major guides. The first one is to know yourself, right? Know yourself. The second is to know your onions, right? Know the stuff, second of all. Third is to network right. And the fourth thing is to spank that interview. Okay. So I'm going to be taking us through every step of the way. It's going to be as practical as possible. And if we have questions, let's just note them down. Then at the end of the session, we'll take them all together. Okay. I know that we have a lot of newbies in the house. Okay. So I'm going to be as simple and as practical as possible. Okay. So how many of us have seen this, have gotten this kind of mail before? We just probably an emoji. Let me just see some emoji. Can everyone else see my screen? Okay, Indira, you've gotten this kind of email. Emmanuel, blessing, interesting. Beautiful, beautiful. So it's a general phenomenon. Please, the reason why I posted this here is to show that you are not alone. Okay, if you've gotten this kind of email here, it shows that we are all in it together. We've been in this stage, and this email should not in any way make you feel like you're not good enough. Should not in any way make you feel like you don't think you're up to. Let this email in any way not make you feel sad in any way, because in truth I just learned recently that most of all these rejection mails are auto-generated. Okay, so if it's not even that good enough to make you feel sad, instead, whenever you apply for a job and you get this kind of email, just put it as one of the numbers, right? Because when you finally get that job and you're telling people your story, you're telling them how, see, I got about 100 rejection mail, but at the end of the day, I'm working with Google. At the end of the day, I'm working with this great company. So it's going to be part of like your success story, okay? Because that's the mindset I have towards all this me. Whenever I send my emails and I get this, I see them as part of my success story, okay? So it is the reality. As a tech enthusiast, getting this kind of email should just be part of the things that you know that comes with being in tech. Okay, it should just be part of the normal thing. You shouldn't feel any kind of way. Okay, so this guide, I'm going to take us through this guide. If you've been feeling confused, you've been feeling discouraged, you've been feeling dejected, please just put those feelings down and put on your big boy boots, because coming out of this session, you're going to have all it takes to get that dream job you want. Okay, all right, so moving on, the first thing we'll be talking about is to know yourself. Okay, I said here, to thy own self be true. Know yourself. How would this help you? You ask. I already know myself. What else do I need to know? Yes, there is so much you don't yet know. And in order to get that job you need to get, you need to be able to know where you are right now and what you need to be to get to that job you want, right? So I did a skill assessment. I did this assessment some few years back at the early time when I was starting off my product management journey, right? So I had to tell myself the truth. Nobody knows you as much as you do, okay? I was able to see what I was, where I was at that moment, and also project who I needed to be in order to land a product management job, in order to be a good product manager, okay? So who was I back then? So this is literally me, right? I wrote this for myself some few years back, and I'm here showing it to you. It might be a bit personal, but I don't mind. I just want you to know that this is very important and it's very necessary. So if I can be this vulnerable to everyone out here, how much more yourself in order to get what you need, okay? So who was I back then? I was a loner, right? I did not like to work in group. I was a kind of person that didn't enjoy working with people. I want to do it by myself. I can do it by myself. I was fine alone. I was that kind of person. But who did I need to be? In order to be a good product manager, right? I needed to be able to collaborate with different teams. I needed to be able to enjoy collaborating with people. Okay. So now this could be you are a designer, you are a software engineer. Who do I need to be in order to be a successful software engineer? That is how you need to be thinking. Okay. I'm a product manager. Who am I right now? And who do I need to be in order to be that good product manager? So for the collaboration part, I was a lone ranger. But because I wanted to be a product manager, I needed to learn. I needed to be open to working with people. That was the first thing I learned about myself. The second thing was I'm a planner. When you talk about someone that can plan A to Z of everything, that was me. There was no room for flexibility. There was no room for, this new thing has come up. In fact, I was so rigid to the extent that if I didn't have a plan, I would not be able to sleep. I'll be worried. That was the kind of person I was. And I found that during my research, as a product manager, you will not always have everything figured out. That is the truth. Okay. Remember, I think during the last session I talked about a product manager being able to learn from other people. Okay. Establishing influence, gaining influence, right? Influencing without authority. As a product manager, you don't know everything. And if you're not able to be open to new ideas, to explore new ideas, it will be very, very difficult for you. Okay. So that was the number two thing I learned about myself doing this self-analysis. Okay. The third thing was I realized I was not comfortable trying out new things. New things and me does not go together. I like things that have been proven and tested. Okay. I needed to be sure that, okay, this particular thing, this was the outcome, right? So I was that kind of person. And I realized that being a product manager, I needed to be flexible. I needed to be dynamic. I needed to be able to adapt. Okay. So you try this method. If it does not work, the next time I'm going to be trying this other method. In order to be a product manager, this is who I need to be. Okay. So before even applying for that job, before even joining that interview or looking for ways to find yourself in that niche, you need to be able to work on yourself. Who am I right now? Who do I need to be? Start growing yourself into it. Start becoming it. Start owning it. That is how you actually embody that role. So when eventually you start applying for those jobs, it's just going to become a walk in the park. Okay. So once we build all this momentum, I think as we go, I'll tell you, you'll be able to see how you will become irresistible to these guys when they interview you. Okay. So the fourth thing I learned about myself was I wasn't very good at taking criticisms. Okay. I prefer to be a follower. The reason why I did not like leading anyone was I realized that people leading will get the blame. Okay. So if I can be a follower, I will not need to get any blame. Okay. So that was the person I was. So I knew that if I wanted to be a product manager, I needed to be able to show ownership. Okay. I needed to be able to take the lead. Remember, as a product manager, you are the owner of the product. Okay, you are the face. Whenever the business needs to talk, you are that intermediary between the business and the development team. Okay, the executive or the CEO will not necessarily go to developer and ask how far, what's the update. You are the forefront. Okay, so whatever questions they're asking, they want about the product, it's from you they are getting it from. If the product is successful or fails, it's you. So I realized that, this my habit of not wanting to take criticisms, it needed to stop. Okay, it needed to stop. So in that way, I started opening myself up to see that, I needed to be so much more in order to become a product manager. And lastly was, I wasn't very good with talking with people. Okay. I was not very good. I needed to be with my friends. I only talked with people I was familiar with. But I realized as a product manager, you needed to be able to communicate, whether you know them or not. You need to start learning to communicate effectively. So if it takes you to start looking at the mirror every day and start explaining things to yourself, start doing that. If it tells you to start talking to people that you're not familiar with, start doing that. Don't wait till when you eventually land that job before you start knowing how to talk to people. It's going to be very, very disastrous. Okay. So all this, the essence of this skill assessment is just for you to be able to embody that role before you enter into the role. Okay. Unlike any other role in tech, for software engineer, being a designer, they needed that hard skill. Okay. But as a product manager, you don't really need any hard skill. What we need basically is the soft skill. And the only way you can improve your soft skill is to apply yourself. You don't know how to communicate, start communicating. Okay. You don't know how to collaborate, start collaborating. So these were all the things I had to do before I could get that job I wanted. Okay. So that is that about knowing yourself. Very, very important. At the end of the session today, if you've not picked anything, pick this. Do a skill assessment of yourself. Okay. So this was the kind of person I wanted to be. For you, you might be some kind of product manager. If you want to be some other kind of product manager, the kind of product manager you want to be, I want you to put it in a tabular form, who I will need to be so and so. Write it down, 1, 2, 3, 4, and start working towards it. Okay. All right. So the next thing we'll be talking about would be knowing your onions, right? What is your onions? Know the stuff. There is no way you want to become something, you want people to pay you for something, and you don't know the stuff. It's not possible. Okay. So you need to know this stuff. Thank God for beautiful sessions like this. Enoverlab is doing something beautiful. They've given you the platform to get this theory. Okay. So everything you need to know is available for you. There are 3 things you need to do in order to know your onions. The first thing is to gather the knowledge, right? Something like from a product school, boot camp, fellowship. The second thing is to apply the knowledge. Okay. The third thing is to show it off. So I'm going to be taking it one by one. The first thing is to gather the knowledge, be it from a product school, be it from online, take courses, whatsoever. Just make sure you know your stuff. Okay. So when they are bringing up some certain terms, you are not lost. When they're talking about PRD, talking about product management, product market fit, talking about users, talking about customers, you know these things. Once you know it, you're convinced, you can speak in any room. Okay. So that is the essence. Apart from product schools, you can get this knowledge from boot camps, you can get it from fellowships, you can get it from self-study. I know a lot of self-taught product managers that learn on their own. Okay. At a particular point, I was actually self-taught. Even before getting my first job, I literally did not have to go to any school or whatsoever. I got it on my own with no connection, like none at all. So it's actually possible. You can actually be self-taught. Okay. So just make sure you know what exactly is expected of you, break it down into whatever steps, and get that knowledge. Apart from that, you can also join product communities, join conferences, just to expose you to this knowledge. Okay. So after you've gathered this knowledge, another important part is to apply this knowledge. Okay. So the application of this knowledge could be, number 1, through volunteering, right? So hit up founders, people running projects whatsoever, and volunteer your services for free. Like, tell them, don't pay me, let me just come and learn. Okay, let me just come and learn. Okay, let me just come and learn and apply my knowledge. Okay, so the only way you can actually be sure that you know you have this knowledge is when you can apply it. Okay, so I'll always use myself for an example, because it's my experience, so I will use that. Okay, so when I finished most of all these most of the courses I took some courses on Coursera, and I volunteered, right? It was a startup. It seemed like we were all newbies there, and there was literally no structure. That's the truth. There was no structure, right? But I came in and I applied the knowledge I had gathered. Like, for over some months, I applied it. The beautiful thing about volunteering is there is room to fail. You can actually learn on the go. Since you're not being paid, there is no costly mistake. That's the beautiful thing about volunteering. And if you're lucky to be volunteering in a place where you actually have more knowledgeable people, it gives you more room to grow. Okay, so volunteering is a very good place to apply your knowledge. Another thing again is peer mentorship. Hook up with familiar minds that have the same dream and mindset with you and share knowledge, right? A very good example was when I was learning about prioritization. I know we are familiar with RICE model, Kano, Moscow, and everything. We know this knowledge as product managers, but when do you apply those prioritization methods? Which one is best for which product? It was when I had a discussion with my peer group. We were mentoring each other. We actually went to in details when exactly we needed to apply those knowledge. So that's not something that I could have learned just reading on my own. Until I applied that knowledge was when I was able to get what I needed from it. That was how I was able to grow confidence in that particular topic. Okay, so that's actually very important. Now you can wake me up. Okay, for this particular feature, what do we need to do? How do we need to prioritize? I'm telling you everything because it's there. If it's there, it's there. There's no faking it, my deck. So that's about application of the knowledge. Another thing again is through group projects. Okay, so you can just gather yourself, group of 3, group of 5, work on a project you are passionate about. Okay, work on a problem that is going on in the community, and you think you actually have you have means to solve. Okay, so collaborating on a group project is something that can actually help you apply yourself. Okay, apart from that, we also have internship is like one of the most common. Okay, we have paid, we have unpaid internship. So if you're lucky to get an internship, that is beautiful. Okay, so go all in, apply yourself. Don't be scared to show what you've learned. Don't be scared to say what you've learned. That is the only way you can grow. Okay, apart from that, we also have hackathons. Okay, some people go into those competitions to win money, but not everybody. Okay, there are some that they just go there for the exposure. Okay, so if you're lucky to get in, you have that exposure working with people, it gives you more confidence. Just imagine you're going to an interview and you're telling them about a problem you solved in an hackathon and stuff. It's already like a bragging rights for you. Okay, so it's very important for you to apply your knowledge. Okay, and the last thing for knowing your onions, guys, is to show it off. There is no way you can learn in isolation. There is no way you can apply in isolation. Show it off. Oh, I learned this stuff today. It was very interesting. You post it on your Twitter, you post on your LinkedIn. Show what you're doing. It's not 10 years ago when you have to be in one place and pray for a miracle to happen. Nowadays, you are your own helper. You are your own connection. You are your own words. So in as much as you can show yourself to the world, is how the world will see you. Okay, so show yourself, show what you've learned, show what you're doing, show what your group is doing. It's very, very important. Apart from that, another way you can show your work is through your portfolio. Okay, you can make it very beautiful, build a website, use various tools. You can use Notion, you can use, there are so many platforms that can help you build very beautiful portfolios. So all those things are just to show off what you can do. Okay, and apart from that, the last thing on showing it off is being an advocate. Okay, so be passionate about speaking about what you know. As a product person, let everybody on your contact list know what you are doing. Not just you, just even if you are still learning. Okay, don't be scared to show what you are. Don't be scared to show what you learn. Don't be scared to show what you do. You never know where the next job is coming. Okay, so knowing your onions in general will make you embody embodying the role even before you get it. The reason why I'm so particular about the process is because once you've built this personality, once you've embodied this role, by the time you are talking with people, there is this kind of aura you ooze. There's this kind of charisma you ooze, right? That most people will find irresistible. And the next thing you're hearing is, okay, I think we need to interview you. I think we need to talk about something. I think we need to do this. I think we need to do that. The first thing you need to actually focus on is yourself. Once you can get that out of the way, every other thing will fall in place. Okay. And the third thing we'll be looking at here is networking rights. I said I was going to really buttress on this because this is very, very important. I said not just networking, I said networking rights. That means there's actually a wrong way of networking. And if you see for that picture I kept there, true connection or a good network will lead to a connection. The connection is likened to like a padlock and a key. You see, they just fit. I don't know how many of us have met certain people and they're like, oh, it's almost as if we've known each other. We've known each other from another life, or we've known each other from like forever. That is how those true connections actually feel. By the time you talk to a person and you're done, you feel like, you both feel like, okay, something just happened here. And that can take you anywhere. The only thing that is limiting it is just in how much you can actually imagine it. That is the only thing that can actually stop you. Okay. So there are 5 steps to networking rights. Number 1, identify the person of interest. Okay. Most of the time, we just send out connection randomly. We don't care if the person is in the same niche as us. We don't care if the person believes in the same things we believe in. We don't care if the person is working on things that we're passionate about. We just send mindless connections. Okay. We go to conferences, we just talk to people randomly. We are not mindful, we are not cautious. We need to be intentional. You want to network, be intentional. Even if it's 1 or 2 people you will say you will meet, okay? You decide on meeting. You need to identify those key people. What are their niche? Okay, what do they do? Okay, what are they interested in? Know all those things. Know about the person you want to network with. You are very, very intentional. The second thing, once you've identified that person, is to draft out your goals. It does not need to be plenty. It can just be 2. Oh, I want this person to be my mentor. That's the goal. Oh, I want this person to be my job connect. That's 2. Oh, I want this person to be an acquaintance, right? Maybe just someone I can talk to and ask for advice and something. Whatever it is, does not have to be plenty. It could just be 1 or 2. Once you've drafted out your goals for that person, the third thing you have to do is to establish a genuine connection. Okay. So now I'm not just talking about LinkedIn alone. It could be LinkedIn, it could be in a conference, maybe a tech hangout, it could be a conference, whatsoever. You need to be able to establish a genuine connection. It could be the shoes they are wearing. oh, you have a very nice shoe. I love the color of your shoe. Something like that. Or I like your haircut or something. You just kind of conversation starters can trigger something in the person. Okay, before you now start talking or introducing yourself, make sure that whatever you're starting with is very genuine and it shows that you are intentional. Okay, so once you've started up that conversation like that, you can then move to, oh, interesting, you are so and so person. Oh, you introduce yourself, and from there a conversation can start. Okay, and another thing again is, I've noticed that when communicating with people, most people just talk, they don't listen. I've noticed like that happen time and time again. I just realized that, okay, this person just wants to just say whatever you want to say and just leave. You are speaking, but there is no feedback, there is no communication. Okay, so when next you're going to be communicating with someone, you want to find a new you want to network with someone, make sure that you are not just doing most of the talking. Let it be a two-way conversation. Let the person know that, okay, you're actually interested in what he's trying to say, and he himself will also return that favor in being interested in what you're trying to say. So that way, by the time you leave that conversation, both of you feel like you've actually connected. And when next you'll be reaching out to that person, the person can actually tag you to something. Oh, you were the lady from so and so that works in this. Oh, interesting, nice to meet you. They can always tag you to something. Okay, so whatever you're going to do, just make sure you leave a lasting impression. Be known for something. Okay, so that is one way your connection can remember you and want to actually keep up with you. So the fourth thing is to keep the flow alive. Okay, so you meet someone today, you've collected their contact, you don't wait till 3 weeks later to chat the person up, or, oh, we met so and so, this is my number, save it and stuff. It's something you do. Don't wait till 3 weeks. You could do it like after like 2 days or 3 days. Oh, interesting, I'm so and so from this place, we met at this, was really nice meeting you, it was really nice talking to you and stuff like that. Make sure you keep it alive. Don't just leave the connection there. You literally just met the person. Remember, you have a goal in mind. So up until you've achieved that goal, you keep on keeping, like, blowing the fire and keeping it alive. Okay, so apart from that, the fifth thing is to give back. It's always a win-win. Okay, so in the case maybe where you talked to the person and the person really loved how you gave like a very nice impression, probably you gave like, the person gave you like an advice or something, and in another way to appreciate them is to give back. Oh, I see that. Is there anything you're working on currently that's interesting? I might want to like offer my assistance, as a way of like saying thank you and appreciating the person. Let the relationship not just be like a one-way traffic. You're the one asking. Be useful to the person. Okay, so let that relationship be a win-win. Don't be a pest or always asking for things, always being the one asking. No, always try to give, always try to make it a balanced relationship, make it a win-win relationship. So you know your stuff. Remember, from the beginning, you know yourself, you know who you need to be, right? The second thing is, you know your stuff already and you've applied yourself. So when you're talking to this person, you're talking from a place of experience. You're talking from a person, you're talking from a place that shows that you know yourself, you know your stuff, you know what you're doing. Just imagine the person you are meeting for the first time is a recruiter, and maybe at that point in time they are not even looking to employ anybody, but because you've left that impression on them, you always be in their minds, right? So all these things, one way or the other, will ultimately take you to your job, even without even actively looking for it. It literally just takes you there. Okay, so that is the beauty of it. Once you're able to apply all these guides well, follow through, it's almost unavoidable. Okay, you might even get to a point, you might even be running away from the job or having to look for the one that fits what you need at that particular point in time. Okay. So I think the last point I have here is spanking that interview. Okay. You're spanking it. All right. You see, I did not even talk about applying and stuff like that. No, I'm already assuming that once you're able to follow all those processes, right, it's going to land you an interview eventually. Sometimes you might even be lucky. Most of the time, those conversations serve as interviews. You will be very, very surprised. They serve as interviews. But if they still want to interview you, just know that when you are going to that interview, you are spanking it. Okay? Every opportunity, you're using it to sell yourself. Every opportunity, you're showing that you know your stuff and you can apply it in any way. Okay. So here are some tips. If we've not been doing before, you need to start doing it now. Okay. The first thing, when they ask you to tell them about your career journey, please and please don't tell them how you schooled for 4 years in a course that is not related to tech. Nobody needs to hear that. If they ask about your educational background, you tell them that. But if they tell you, tell us about yourself, it's a very broad question. It is up to you to streamline how you want to answer it, right? And in such question, the best way to answer it is telling them about your technical journey. Okay? Oh, while growing up, I've always wanted to solve problems, right? So a few years ago, I got into product management and I started doing this. I worked on that. I worked on this. I worked on that. Everything is towards whatever role that you are being interviewed for. Don't just be confused and start talking off points. Be very strategic, okay? So talk about your project. Talk about the teams you worked on. Talk about your challenges. Talk about the way you handled problems, okay? Let it become a discussion. How you know you are winning is when you're talking to your interviewer and the interview is almost turning to like a discussion. Just know that you have won. Once you are able to turn the interview into that, just know that you have won. Another mindset, again, I also want to break during interviews is when you are being interviewed, I want you to know that every interviewer, they pray and they want to believe that you are their candidates. Interviewing people is not fun. Imagine you want to hire for one role and you have about 50 people to interview. What do you think will be going through the mind of that recruiter? Do you think they're happy doing it? No, honestly. But if they can interview you and you already have that mindset that, this person wants me to be the best person, you will act like the best person. Okay? Use every opportunity to sell yourself. Make the person believe that you are the best person for the job. Okay? Remember I said, you know yourself. You've applied yourself. You've networked right. By the time you are talking to that interviewer, you're already talking like someone that is already established. Like, if you don't choose me, who are you? Who are you choosing, please? Like, if you don't choose me, it's a loss on you. That is almost how you should sound. That is almost how you should be confident. I'm not saying you should be overconfident though, but have that confidence. Talk with that conviction. Okay, it goes a long way. All right. And also another tip again I would also like to add is when answering application questions, don't just say anything. Okay, if they ask you a question that is technical, try to understand the goal of that question. What do you think this person wants to get from this question? Okay, there was one interview they asked me a question that, how would I approach building a product for a blind person? Imagine, I'm like, blind person. Could you come again with the question? I wanted to understand because I feel like those people interviewing, they can be very, very funny. If you just open your mouth and start saying things, no, understand the goal of that question. If it even means you asking them to say the question again, just for you to have some time to process, do it. Okay, do it. Just make sure you understand. Then once you've been able to pick, okay, this person wants to see how well, this person wants to understand my approach to product thinking, right? Person wants to know my approach to problem solving. Then once I realize, oh, this is what this person wants to know, I'm now start answering the question from that light. And you see, to even get to a point where they're like, okay, cool, thank you very much. When you've totally bamboozled them, okay? So during interviews, another thing again you can also do is just everything just say it in a very structured way. It's almost like it is convergent. Don't start diverging when you're answering question. You are converging to a particular point, okay? Which is to show yourself and show that you know your stuff. Okay, so the last point will be I've said it already, use every opportunity to sell yourself. Okay, so when they ask about your weaknesses, okay, don't start saying, oh, I'm a perfectionist. Say something more. How do I put it? Make it look like something that is like a quirk. Oh, I'm someone that loves to let me say for testing now, I need to ensure that everything is working well. Okay, so I can do a particular process over and over again. Apply it in a technical way. Don't just say it in a way that is out of context, that is open to interpretation. Okay, always make sure that your answers are they're as technically inclined as possible. Okay, and lastly is ask questions about the company. Okay, so I think some few weeks ago I was watching a video about an American recruiter. She was asking that, what are some of the red flags you see in a candidate and you know that this person is not for you? She was like, any candidate that doesn't ask me about that doesn't ask me any questions is not an ideal candidate. I'm like, really? So even if you're the best candidate, you answered all the questions well, and you didn't ask about the company, it's a red flag. It means you didn't do any research about the company. Okay. The worst one is for them to not ask you a question about the company and you don't know. Okay. So, but if they ask you a question, you can instead tell them what you know. Okay. That is another way that's another thing that can also save you. Okay. So always make sure you ask about the company, you show interest in the company. Okay. And at the end of the day, it will show that, okay, truly, this might actually be someone that would like to consider. And most of the time, whenever you're done with that interview, like you actually did spank that interview, when you're coming out feeling like a boss, because you know that, oh, the person that will come and beat this my standard is just, I've not seen. So you just leave that interview feeling good, feeling fly, because you know you are gonna get it. Okay. And above all, in all, please, there is also God. You can pray, oh, this my effort I've kept, God crown my efforts with success. Yeah. So that is what I have for you guys. The guide, let me just reiterate. Okay, the first thing is to what? Know yourself. Okay, self-assess yourself. Okay, do that and know where am I right now and where do I need to be. Number one. Number two is to know your onions. Okay, know your stuff. How do you know your stuff? Gather the knowledge, apply the knowledge, and show it off. Okay. The third one is to network right. Form genuine connections from your network. Okay. And lastly is spanking that interview. Go there and show them the boss that you are. Okay. So I guess that's what I have for you guys. That has I've come to the end of my talk. I really hope you learned something valuable from this. So if you have questions, I hope you have questions for me, so we can just take that before we call it a day. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Favor, over to you. Okay, some hand raised. Favor, are you there? Okay, I guess Favor is not on the call. Favor, are you
Sorry,
there?
sorry. Yes,
Okay,
yes, I am. Yeah.
all right.
Thank you very much for that, Paula. It was a very, very impactful session. Like, so please, if you
Thank
have questions, you can raise your hands up. Yes, okay, I think I can. Hello, Raju, you can unmute your mic and ask a question.
Okay, you had
Hello, good evening. Can you hear me? Hello, please confirm you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you, Adi Jimmy.
Okay. Thank you very much for this session. Really appreciate it. My question is just out of curiosity on the interview you said you went for. How were you able to answer the question of how do you build a product for blind people?
Okay, beautiful question. Oh my god. Okay. So first of all, the most important thing was I started from interviews, right? So I think the full question was, how do you build an electric product? It was like, I can't exactly remember in specific, but it was like an electric product. That was a boiling ring for a blind person, something like that. Okay. So I think where I started was from answering that I would need to like understand what exactly the problem is. So if the person is blind, definitely the person would be around people that can help him. So why exactly do we need to build that kind of product? Okay. So I came from understanding the problem. Okay. So it's not about just building product. What exactly am I trying to solve? What problem am I trying to solve? Okay. So at the point, I think what he was trying to bring out from that question was, do you just develop a product because you're meant to develop a product? Or you need to understand the problem you are solving for? That was what I think I got from that particular question. And I think at the end of the day, it was like, oh, I think you are spot on. So I was like, first of all, I need to know what problem I'm solving for. So if I'm able to understand the problem I'm solving for, I would be able to draft out or develop a product that is suitable for the blind person. Okay. So in that point in time, it might not even be the product, it might be some other thing. So if I'm able to know the major challenge the person is trying to face, I would be able to solve for that problem. So I talked about customer interviews, okay, understanding the problem at hand, then gathering those requirements and seeing how they can then fit those they can be suitable for the blind person. Okay, during the design stage, even before the design stage, during my prototype, make sure that they are actively involved in that process. It's something that is fitting for them. During the design, take them along and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, when I'm getting that that product is complete, it is actually something that is usable and valuable for them. So yeah. I'm not sure if I missed it too, but that was like the long and short of it. I hope that answered your question.
Sure. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Do you still have other hands raised? Okay, Ekene.
Hello, good evening. Thank you very much for sharing. I kind of like the fact that you were just hitting the nail on the head. So I have people that are here with me that are connected to this program. So one of them wants to ask, I'm asking on his behalf. So there's a part of the slide you shared where where I am now and who I want to
Okay.
be. Okay, so he wants you to reshare that slide. I think it's before. Okay, yeah. Take a screenshot.
Okay, you can just
Okay, so if
screenshot.
you could
Yeah.
just, because for clarity's sake, if you could just go over it again, how to, okay, so
Oh,
this is where you are. How can you get to where you need to be? I think you should just
okay.
go over that.
All right. Okay. So I call that like a self-assessment, like self-assessing yourself. Okay. So the summary of it is just analyzing where you are right now, whatever you are right now, your personality wise, specifically personality wise, even skill wise. Okay. What you are right now. And for that role you need to get to, what do you need to be to get to that role? Okay. I said something. I said it is iterative. Okay. So if you get a job today and 6 months time you need to get to another job, a higher job, you look at where you are right now, you write down, okay, in this particular place now, okay, I can I can communicate effectively. Okay. I'm comfortable working in I'm very adaptable. Okay. I'm very I can multitask. That's like both strengths and weaknesses, right? All the things you can do, you list them in one part of the table. Then the second part, if probably where you are, you're like a junior associate and you need like a senior associate, you need to move to the position of a senior associate. What are the things a senior associate needs to do? What does the senior advocate associate need to be? Okay. What does the senior associate need to be? Need to The personality he needs to embody. Okay. If he needs to be able to manage people under him, he needs to be able to attend he needs to be very versatile, he needs to be able to travel, all those kind of things. So just put them there to the best of your knowledge. Okay. If it also means you can also do some research, speak to like actual associates and get the things that they need to be, things that they are in that position. Just put them there, put that down. Then from where you are, start working towards that particular role. Okay. If you need to be more versatile, you try to become more versatile. If you need to be much more adaptable, you need to do that. Okay. If you need to learn how to bring up people under you, because most people in senior positions, they tend to manage people under them. As a junior associate, you might not really know anything about managing people. Okay. But if you need to be a senior, you need to be able to manage people under you. So those are the things you need to start doing. Okay. So you need to, if that takes you to leading teams, going to taking on projects and being the lead, where you have to bring up people, those are the kind of things you need to be more open to. Okay. So in that way, from where you are, you can now start building skill to that senior position. So when you eventually get there, you're not surprised. Okay. Even when you are being interviewed for that particular process, you are spanking it because you've already started to embody it. You get. Okay. Ekene, hope I've answered. You can
Yeah, you did. You
answer
did.
the question. All right,
Yeah.
cool. Okay, so do we have any other question? Questions. Okay. So I guess there are no other questions. Thank you. Okay, so I think that's all for my end. People said she's having bad network. So do we have any other person on the call? Okay. Okay, Tree Network, you can unmute yourself and speak.
Hi, hello, good evening.
Good evening.
My name, yeah. So I'd like to ask a question. You spoke about, I think one of the things about putting yourself out there, and while LinkedIn and X can be a very, you know, um, will I say, moody kind of platform. So you can go there to be depressed, you can go there to receive inspiration. How do you put yourself in that state whereby you don't consider even the most little of things as a yardstick? Because if you are someone who is conversant with LinkedIn, you're always going there and you see people showing off internship roles that you feel like you shouldn't be showing this. These are things that right? And you want to you feel like you need to have something that is embodied, something that has weight, significance that can be attributed more connection. So how do you put yourself out there?
Mm, mm, mm. Beautiful question. Oh, he said LinkedIn can be moody. That one got me. You see, LinkedIn is, should I say, is one app that is for oppression. If you want to oppress people, that is where you go. If you want to spoil your day, you go to LinkedIn. But another thing again is you should have a mindset, okay? Since everybody is there to just show off their accomplishment and achievements, you don't go there. If you go there wanting to feel depressed, you will be depressed. Okay. That's why for everything you need to do, you need to be intentional. Okay, you need to be intentional. On LinkedIn, I want to say something before I actually answer your question. With LinkedIn, you actually have access to millions of people on a normal day you will not have access to. You have founders, you have senior people in management for different niches, right? With LinkedIn, you have access to those people. On a normal day, you will not get access to them. So instead of seeing LinkedIn as a place for oppression, start seeing it as a place where you can have unlimited connection. Okay? Those people who are just posting stuff, surprisingly, there are some that the highest likes they can get is like 5 likes. But to them, they are showing themselves up and they are putting themselves out there. That is for them. But to you, you should always have a goal for everything you do on LinkedIn. Always have a goal. If you're going there to look up articles for people that you're actually interested in, from just liking a post or responding to a adding a comment to a post, as simple as that action can be, that can give you visibility. Okay, from just saying, oh, interesting stuff you posted here, or interesting thing you said here, this actually led me to blah, 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 just said something that person keys into. Before you know it, the person is sending you a connection. I have lots of people like that. From just me adding something to their comments, that already landed me a connection automatically. Okay, so don't get distracted. Don't get should I say depressed about what people do there. Just be more concerned about yourself and what you aim to achieve. You can never tell people what to do. You are not in control of what people do, but you are in control of how you react. Okay, so don't let those things get to you. Just make sure you do your own thing. You are very intentional about whatever you do, okay? And that will ultimately get you results. LinkedIn is meant for professional connection. So make sure you're always doing that. Make sure you're always looking out for that, okay? And ultimately, that will get you to like your goal, okay? I hope I've been able to answer your question. Please just give me that. I don't know if I'm meant to call you Tree. Oh, yeah, just Tree Network that talked. I don't know your name, but I hope I've been able to answer your question, Sha.
Oh yeah. You've been able to. Yeah. Thank
All
you.
right.
Thanks. The name is actually true. Actually. Yeah.
Your name is Tree.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's my government name. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So I'm guessing that is all. Favor is still having network issue. Okay.
All right. I can jump in now. Thank you very much,
Oh,
Paula.
all right. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm sure everyone has learned one or two things. If you have more questions, sure you can reach out to Paula. Paula, would you like to drop your LinkedIn link for people, should in case they want to reach out to you for something or they're about? So you can just put in the chat box. So thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening. Same time next week with another topic, with another person. Enjoy the rest of your evening. So you can just wait a little bit on the call for Paula to drop her link. Thank you all.